My name is Hannah, and this is my beauty budget. Y'all, I have two words for you. Soap brows. Look at my brows. I'm filming the makeup collection tag, Georgia's tag, today. But first I'm going to talk about what's on my face for a little while, probably for a couple of minutes. So if you don't care what's on my face and you just want to hear me answer the questions, there will be a timestamp at the top of the description box. But if you do want to know, I ran out of my beloved brow gel, the Givenchy one. I decided that I'm not going to purchase that again because it's so expensive. And the one that I have, the one from NYX, just isn't cutting it. And I was like, what am I gonna do? And out of desperation, I tried soap brows. This is only my second day wearing them. And I am in love. Do you see them? Do you see them sticking up? Do you see them staying? Do you see them? I went into Joe yesterday morning after I had first put soap in my brows for the first time. And I was like,
this is literally the best my brows have ever looked in my entire life.
And he was like,
I don't care.
Because he literally doesn't care. Like Joe could not care less about any aspect of my personal grooming, which is actually kind of amazing. And I prefer it this way to like him criticizing me for certain aspects of my personal grooming, so it's not a problem. But he, at times like this, he's basically like,
Hannah, go tell your subscribers, they'll really care, and I do not care.
So that's what I'm doing. This is my first chance to tell you since I discovered them, and I'm so into it. I'll be talking about it, I'm sure, in a future video, but I just couldn't let a moment of filming go by without saying to you, soap brows, soap brows, soap brows. I'm also feeling very, very bronzed today. I don't know if it will show up on camera because I'm not very experienced with bronzing, and the lights I know always really brighten me and kind of wash me out. But it's because I just received these products in the mail from Pure just today. They were sent to me, obviously, it was through Octoly, and they're like bronzy and highlighty powders. So one is an illuminating bronzer that's kind of dark for me, and one is a highlighter that's kind of gold for me, and then one is Bronzing Act, which is their light matte bronzer, and it's actually perfect for me. But I went totally ham with all three of these, and the darker bronzer, the illuminating bronzer, I kind of like kept going back for more and for more, and then I had to darken up my neck, and then I even put some on my shoulders. So I never do this. You guys know I usually come on here like ghosty goth princess. I don't usually do this, but I don't know, I felt like it, and these are lovely. Obviously this is a first impressions and I will review them further in Hannah's Reckoning, but I was very impressed to begin with, and also it didn't go on too dark, like as dark as that darker bronzer looks in the pan. It didn't go on too dark. They did also send a dark bronzer that I probably won't use. I'll probably give it away to someone with a darker skin tone, and I think they sent like a mattifying powder or something as well. I'll try all of them out except maybe the dark bronzer, and I'll report back. But I just wanted to let you know that that's why I'm looking like this. I didn't get a tan or something. That doesn't happen to me. My skin doesn't really tan. It just burns and then it peels, and then it's white again underneath. I feel like I'm also very glowy. I've been trying a lot of products from Pure, from Octoly. I also requested this one, which is the No Filter Blurring Photography Primer. And this I have been really liking. I've never tried Pure before, and I was intrigued by this product, but I wasn't sure. And then I saw a YouTuber I've been watching called A Geek Out of Water. Do you guys watch A Geek Out of Water? Her name is Shelly, and she is the absolute loveliest, and she's also very pale, and she also does a lot of foundation wear tests, which I don't do. She got this from Octoly, and I saw her put it on during a wear test. There's my two hands. I don't know if that will help. I wasn't at all able to tell in the monitor if you could see how that looked on my hands, or if you could see the difference between my two hands, but this is just a lovely, glowy primer product that does blur and illuminate and do a little bit of softening of the redness on my skin, and I've been pleasantly surprised by everything I've tried from Pure, and I'm wearing it all on my face right now. So, oh, and then on my lips, it's NARS Catherine, which is one of the lipsticks from my 10 lipstick Shop My Stash. I'm wearing it kind of blotted and faded and a little bit blurred out around the edges, as is my want. And this on my eyes is my attempt to do kind of a toned down eye look so that I could wear a bold lip. I actually used all of those bronzing and highlighting products on my eyes as well. And now that I've shared with you a bunch of information that you didn't click on this video to hear, let's go ahead and get into the actual meat of the actual video. I just looked in the mirror and noticed that there was like a smear of mascara on the side of my face. Well, that was probably there during the whole intro. This video is already kind of a mess. Most of you probably know by now that this is a tag that was started by my wonderful friend Georgia Harris. Truly a wonderful person. Georgia is so community-minded, so loving, so proactive about bringing people together in the YouTube community, and I just think so highly of her. I hope that you guys are subscribed to her and are watching her channel. I will definitely link her down below. She's just a true gem, and she created this tag that I really want to do. I haven't been that inspired by tags lately. A lot of them have come and gone, and I've kind of just let them go because I didn't really feel like filming them, and I have so much content that I want to film. It takes a lot, or it takes something special to reroute me from my regularly scheduled programming, as this has done today. And so I haven't been letting things do that lately. I'm really excited to film this tag. I'm going to go ahead and start right in with the questions because I already did the transition from the intro. I feel like this is ordinarily when I would say, let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video, but the pre-meat, the sandwich bread, the nut shell, because you know nuts have meat as well. I like thinking about the meat of my video as being like the meat of a walnut. Anyway, the walnut shell was all about all the makeup I have all over my face, so we're already into the meat. Question 1. How long have you been collecting makeup? I don't really think of myself as someone who collects makeup. There wasn't a moment when I was like, I'm going to decide to build a collection of makeup. I am now a collector of makeup. The way that people decide to become stamp collectors or to collect figurines. I never decided to collect makeup, and I don't really consider myself to be actually a makeup collector. I talk about my stuff that's all makeup as my collection of makeup, but I'm using that word in the casual sense, the way that we talk about a collection of objects. Like if you gather a bunch of things together, you have a collection of things. But I never decided to be a makeup collector. I've always just bought the makeup that I want to use, and that's what I'm still doing. And I have been doing that since I was a kid. I mean, since I was like buying Bonnabelle lip glosses in the drugstore at the age of 8. But I really started letting myself enjoy making myself up during my senior year of college. Question number 2, what kind of collection do you have? Minimal, utilitarian, aesthetic, historical, etc. Those are Georgia's suggestions. I love that she put historical in there. I would love to talk to someone who has a historical makeup collection. Lisa Eldridge actually has a video about that, her like vintage makeup stuff. That is amazing. If I can find that, I will link it. I would say that my makeup collection is a combination of utilitarian and editorial, meaning that I tend to have sort of a minimal group of products that I need to enhance myself in the basic way, like base products. I have a pretty minimal and utilitarian collection of base products. I just have what I need to even out my skin tone, for example. And then I have like this second wave of products that are all exciting color cosmetics for drama. So I feel like I have sort of a double-headed makeup collection. That it's part minimalist utilitarian, and then it's part dramatic and colorful and fun. And fun is such a ho-hum word for how I feel about my makeup. Lush. I would say luscious and lush. So I have kind of a minimalist utilitarian with a luscious cherry on top makeup collection. Question number 3, are you a completionist? I am the opposite of a completionist. A completionist in makeup, I think everyone knows, the way that we use it in this community is to refer to a person who needs to buy every piece of a collection that comes out to complete the collection, Or if something is released in phases, like Marc Jacobs releases a holiday palette every year, a completionist would buy the first one, and then the next holiday season would have to buy the second one so that they could be together, and then the next holiday season would have to buy the third one. And a completionist is rankled when there's one missing from a line of products, whether that line has been released all at once or over a period of time. I'm the opposite of a completionist because I feel like I only need one. And what I enjoy about buying something from a collection, if and when I ever do that, what I enjoy is choosing the one that's right for me. And then once I have that one, I'm like, well, I already picked the one that's right for me, and so I don't need to buy another one. So for example, I really love this lipstick formula that Bobbi Brown came out with recently, the crushed lipsticks. And I had a little sample size of one and I learned that I love the formula. And though I love the color of the little sample that I had, it was mostly the formula that I fell in love with. And I was like, I want to buy one of these lipsticks in a full size. And so I looked at the range, and I worked and worked and worked to figure out which one was the best for me. Like which one of all of the colors that have been created in that formula, which is the Hannah color, which is the one I want. And I actually bought that one. I'm going to talk about it in my upcoming video about what I bought in March. It was one of the things I bought in March. And now I have that one, and I feel like I've done it. I've got the one that I wanted. And I feel that way about my Marc Jacobs limited edition holiday palette too. There was already one. I think there was the first year I didn't buy it. Then the second year, this one came out, and I fell absolutely in love with it for a number of reasons, many of which I've talked about already on my channel, and I bought it. And then the next year, another one came out, and I wrote it off completely, whole cloth. I never even considered buying it because I was like, I already have one of those. And even though it was a totally different color scheme, etc., I feel like I already have one. So I'm never tempted to buy the Marc Jacobs holiday palette ever again because I already have one of those. I'm the opposite of a completionist. Question 4, how do you store and organize your collection? I actually have a video of my makeup collection, a tour of this little room, and pretty much nothing has changed since that tour. I have gotten a few more things, I have decluttered some things, but in terms of how I store and organize my makeup, nothing has changed. The room has been rearranged a little bit. So I used to film from here facing there, and now I film from here facing there. But if you're curious how I store and organize my makeup collection, the best way to find that out will be to watch that video, and of course I will link that video in the cards right now. But basically I've got a little holder for each type of makeup. So I've got this little acrylic thing, and many of you, whenever I show these, you ask me to link them. I'll try. I bought them from Amazon. I'm sure that I can trace the listings through my Amazon order history, so I'll try to do that in this video. I've got this little thing. All of my face palettes and eyeshadow palettes are in here, and I've got this little thing, and all of my lipsticks are in it. It's like one little acrylic lipstick holder, and then all of my eyeliners and lip liners are in here. So I try to have like one spot for every little type of thing, and then I try not to acquire more than will fit in that holder. I don't want to get more storage, and that's one of the things that helps me keep my collection the size that it is, and it feels relatively reasonable. It feels right for me. I'm getting into the next question. I'm going to stop talking about this right now. Question 5, what is your favorite thing about your collection? I didn't plan my answers in advance. I don't know if you can tell. Let me think about it. Just thought that I had another black smear here. I don't know what's going on. My eyes are like leaking and everything's running all over the place. I hope I haven't totally made a fool of myself thus far in the video by blabbering away with something streaking down my cheek. I think my favorite thing about my collection is that it's curated for me. I feel like everything's right for me. Everything's the right color for me. I don't keep things around if they don't suit my skin tone, if they don't make me want to use them. I don't keep any bloat. And so it just feels so mine, and it feels so cozy to me and so delicious. Like it feels like a group of art supplies that are exactly what I need to make a piece of art I want to make. That's my favorite thing. Question number 6, what is your least favorite thing about or something to improve about your collection? I think it's any little corner of my collection that isn't the thing that I just said. So I feel like I try to keep it the way I was saying. I try to make sure there's no excess baggage, nothing around that I don't really love and nothing around that doesn't suit me. But I feel like there right now are maybe a few things hanging on. And I feel like I might need to do like a quick declutter of my lip products again sometime soon, for example. Whenever I feel dissatisfied in any way about what I have, it's because of that. It's because I'm feeling like it's not quite as streamlined as I would like it to be. I try not to get too obsessed with always constantly weeding and perfecting and having it be awesome and perfect and exactly perfectly tailored to me in every single minute way. But you know, if there's like there's some lip products that have been sitting here for 2 years and somehow made it through my lip product declutter because I had delusions of wanting to keep and wear them, and time has told the tale. I haven't worn them. Those are bothering me a little bit, and that's my least favorite thing about what I have right now. 7, what is the biggest category of your collection? I'm gonna say lip products just because I've learned since the end of my no-buy year that I just keep buying them. I just keep acquiring them for some reason. I think if you were to count all of my individual eyeshadows, I have more eyeshadows than I have lip products. I have more single eyeshadows than I have lip products probably. But I feel like if you look at all my blushes and all my highlighters, you're like, oh, okay, this is how much of each thing Hannah likes to have around. And then you look at my lip products and you're like, whoa, girl, like you have exceeded yourself in this realm. What is the smallest category of your collection? It's complexion products. I like to find the complexion products that work perfectly for me and then just use the same ones over and over again. Because I don't often try to change the look of my complexion in the way that I've done today. That's why when I came on camera, I was like, I have to tell you about these pure bronzers because I feel like I've done something really different. I'm looking in the monitor and in a little mirror that I have here, and I look just as pasty as ever. I'm worried that I'm gonna spend this whole video talking about how bronze I am, and you guys are gonna be like, Hannah, that's not what bronze is. That's not bronze, which is actually kind of cool because that means that the mineral glow, the one that looks so dark in the pan for me, might actually be something that I can use to bring a natural warmth to my skin during the summertime. So that's cool. I'll be curious to see the way that the footage looks when I am editing. Anyway, I only really have one foundation that I use. I've actually almost used it up, and I've been shopping around lately for another foundation. I don't think I want to repurchase the one that I had. Again, historically, I've only had like one pot concealer for blemishes and one concealer in a tube for brightening. Question number 9, do you have a holy grail in your collection? And I think that when I watched Georgia do this, when I watched her launch of this tag, her own video about this stuff, I can't remember if she said the word crown jewel or if I recently have just been thinking about the idea of crown jewels in a makeup collection. I think I referenced crown jewels when I was doing my lip picks for my Shop My Stash. But that's how I've been thinking about this question as I've watched other people do this tag. Do you have crown jewels in your makeup collection? Because I think of the Holy Grail as being per category, like the Holy Grail of complexion products or the Holy Grail of setting sprays. And of course I have what we call Holy Grails in various categories, but when it comes to crown jewels in my collection, 2 things spring immediately to mind. One is the Tom Ford lipstick that I talked about in that other video. I'm sorry if you can hear noises right now. Joe is usually very still and quiet while I'm filming, and today he's like up and about, like living his little Joe life and eating food and washing his hands and stuff. Usually he doesn't do that stuff while I'm filming. He's usually really quiet. Our apartment is super tiny. You can hear everything, but everything's chaos. Everything's chaos. There's a lot going on. My check-in, I think I'm going to save it for my check-in. It's coming soon. It's coming on the last day of the month. There's a lot going on. Anyway, Tom Ford Wild Ginger. This is a lipstick. It's a brilliant red-orange. The formula, as I've said before, is, unfortunately, because of the price, all it's cracked up to be. This was a birthday gift from my parents who they're so sweet. They care nothing for makeup. I think they don't know how they even ended up having a daughter who loves makeup. They're like, where did you come from? Whose child are you? Like my parents are really not into it. And this was on my wish list for my birthday a couple years ago, and they just got such a huge kick out of buying me a $55 lipstick for my birthday because it's so ridiculous. And it's just sweet. You know, that's part of the sweetness that's attached to this. And then the color, it is so perfect. It's like me in a lipstick, and it's so classy. I just cherish this so much. I think of it as my crown jewel. And then the other thing that sprung to mind was my palette of singles that I recently created. I just think it's so magical, and it's ever changing. And I actually recently created a new little palette of singles that I pulled from that big palette. Look at this baby. The reason I did this, the reason I made this, my reasons for picking this color palette and these eyeshadows is that I have been very tempted by the new Melt Stack. I don't think I'm gonna buy it. I think I've already talked myself out of it, but that's the first Melt Stack I've ever wanted. And when I first saw the Temptale, no, it was the Trend Mood pictures where she's holding the stack and it's on all four of her fingers. I was just like, that's made for me. It was made for me, grungy, iridescent, everything. And then I was like, Hannah, how often do you really wear the looks you're imagining you would wear with those? And the frequency with which you actually would use them, don't you have other eyeshadows that you could use that frequently and that would be just as satisfying? I'm not sure if that sentence made sense. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to go back and try to say it again. Basically, I'm seeing if I can dupe the vibes. So I made this palette. I picked every eyeshadow that's even remotely similar to the ones from that Melt Stack, and then I picked some mattes to go with them and some other shimmers. This is kind of the way I think of that stack as being the jewel tones, the beetle wing iridescence. And I'm going to leave this on my vanity and see how frequently I really do make those looks I've been imagining I would make with that Melt Stack. And if I do it frequently with this, see if that satisfies me. Anyway, tangent. I love my single eyeshadows. I think that they are one of my crown jewels. I guess they're way more than just one of them. There's like 100 of them, but the group of them is something that really excites me and I feel like is special. And it's also been hard won. I've depotted a bunch of palettes and I've decluttered a bunch of singles and I've, bought one or two here and there. It's just so unique, and it's not something that you can go out and just buy. It's not like an Anastasia Beverly Hills palette where I have the same one that everyone else has. It's a result of the way that I've lived through a bunch of eyeshadow palettes and the little things I've chosen to collect here and there. So I think that that's why these are so special to me. All right, question number 10. Do you ever wish your collection was bigger or smaller, or is it complete?
Look at this stuff. Isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete?
How can I answer this? I feel myself butting up against this question in a funny way because I don't think a makeup collection can be complete because I don't think that it's static. I think of makeup, I think of it as like food. Like it's perishable. It's meant to be used and it's perishable. So it can't be complete because if it were done and it just stayed, it would go rotten. So it's kind of like asking, is your collection of food in your refrigerator and in your pantry complete? It doesn't make sense because you're going to eat it tomorrow and then you're going to eat it the next day. You're going to cook with what's in your pantry and you're eventually going to use stuff up. And then you might repurchase that same stuff. You might buy the same bag of rice that you bought before and then keep buying it, or you might try new rice, or you might run out of rice and decide you don't like rice anymore and not buy any more rice for a while, but it's just, it doesn't make sense to sort of say, is your refrigerator complete? I don't wish that my collection were bigger, but at the same time, there are things that I want to own that I don't yet have. And I don't particularly feel like it's too big. It doesn't feel like it's overwhelming me. I don't feel like I really need to get rid of half of it, because I feel like I've done a pretty good job lately of shedding some of the things that I wasn't using. But at the same time, there are a few things hanging around that I'm ready to declutter, and I just haven't gotten around to it yet. So it's kind of all and none of that is going on. I'm fine with how things are. I'm going to get rid of some things soon. I'm going to acquire some things soon. And I don't think that my makeup collection, with the way that I think of makeup, will ever be complete, because I don't want to think of it as something that stays. I don't want to think of it as something that's set in stone. I want to keep reminding myself constantly, to remind myself that buying makeup is a lot like buying food. You have to use it up before it goes bad, or you will have bought something and then wasted it. And that's fine. There have been plenty of times when I've used the vast majority of a makeup product and then either passed it on or thrown it out. I'm not saying that there's something morally wrong with buying a piece of makeup and then not using the whole thing up. I don't feel that way. I don't feel like there's morality attached to it. But it helps me to think of my Tom Ford lipstick as like a jar of caviar, right? The finest little dollop of substance that's ever so special, and you only use a little bit at a time. And if I had that jar in my fridge, I would be so excited. I'd be like, it's so special. It's for special occasions. I eat it. I dole it out. I have a little bit. But in the back of my mind would always be like, better not save that caviar for too long, because there will come a point past which you can no longer enjoy it. And it'll be sad if you keep saving it and don't eat it, and then that day comes. Question 11, how often do you declutter makeup in your collection? I can't really answer this right now, I feel, because I don't know if it's regular. I don't know if there's been enough decluttering for a regular pattern to have been established. I just decluttered my blushes pretty seriously, and that's the first time I've decluttered my blushes since I started my YouTube channel. So that's been like well over a year, so at least a year. But I did declutter my lipsticks some months ago, and I'm going to do it again soon. Maybe not a whole huge official separate video, because there might not be that many that I'm getting rid of, but I already feel like it's time. So I just don't know. I do it every so often. I do it, I feel like, when I need to. But that's such a bad answer. Sorry, question 11. Sorry, Georgia. Question 12, do you get envious seeing other people's makeup collections? I do not. When I see people with really big, when I see sort of like Jaclyn Hill's makeup collection, or like Desi Perkins, when I see those like huge YouTuber collections, jealousy is the last thing I feel. I always, when I see that, I think, how can you enjoy your stuff? And I don't doubt that they do. I'm not saying, I shouldn't have said, how can you enjoy your stuff? What I should have said is, I would not be able to enjoy my stuff if I had all that stuff. The logistics of kind of deciding what to use and comparing and being attracted to certain things and not using other things, it boggles me. I think I would really struggle if I had that stuff. So I have kind of the opposite of makeup collection envy with those massive collections. I do sometimes feel a twinge of envy when I see really minimalist collections. When I see people who, they're like, these are my 2 lipsticks and I only love these. Like when I see that, I'm like, ooh, I wish I could be that person. But that's my fantasy self. I love lip products and I love a lot of the ones I have, and I still want to buy more, and that's just the reality. And I'm not going to beat myself up about it. I am going to budget. I am going to make sure that I don't end up in the poorhouse over it. So I'm going to make sure that I'm smart about it. I'm not going to let it take over my life like I was doing before. But I'm also not going to talk myself into thinking that I would be a better or more virtuous person if I was more of a makeup minimalist than I am. But that's the only kind of envy that I get. There's this YouTube channel, Matilda. I'm sure a lot of you are watching her. She has a huge following. She does all the overhead filming only, and just her hands, and she shows her things. And she has very fancy tastes. She tends to have a lot of luxury and high-end stuff. but she has a very curated sensibility, and she often will just show, like I think she recently showed her most used makeup products, and she just had this really, really, really worn out and well-loved Chanel concealer. So it's like the one concealer that was so nice and is the fanciest and best, and she's just chosen the one, and that's the one she uses. I mean, there's something about that kind of gets me going. But I'm fine. I'm not, I wouldn't say envious. I think I see that and I think about it and I think, how can I learn from my feelings about this? How can I incorporate my reaction to this into my decision-making process as I move forward in the life that I have, which is the life that I want, and I'm fine. Question 13, who on YouTube has the best makeup collection video? And I'm not sure if Matilda has filmed a full makeup collection video. I'll search. I haven't watched all of her videos. I really like her videos, but I haven't watched all of them, so I can't say with confidence whether or not she has. But the video I just talked about, which is her kind of everyday makeup bag, or her most used Holy Grail products, I can't remember what it was, but it was all of her kind of best and most beloved products in a little travel bag, and she showed them all. I like that more than any full makeup collection video that I have ever seen on YouTube. That is my favorite of all of them. So I'm gonna go with that one. I'll link that, and if it ends up that she does have a full makeup collection video, or one where she shows more of what she owns, I'll link that too, and I'll take a great pleasure in watching it. Question number 14 and the last. What's some advice you'd give to a future makeup collector? Budget. Budget. Get yourself on a budget. Look at your finances, and before you even think about what it is you want, like what makeup you want to have and use, before you even start thinking about that and how much it costs, think about how much money would be reasonable for you to spend per month on makeup. Like, what is it that you feel comfortable with? What do you feel like you can really afford to spend while also affording to save for the future you want? Come up with a number and then stick to that number like your future depends on it, which it does. And that is it. That is my makeup collection tag. Georgia, you knocked it out of the park with this one. I really, really love this tag. I have been enjoying watching all of the ones that have come out. I've clicked on every one that I have seen, and all of you out there who have YouTube channels, you are tagged by me. I would love to see your renditions of this tag. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that you are remembering to take extra good care of yourself right now so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.